who's feeding the dog, who's looking after the children, who's looking after the disabled husband, what's going to happen to me? Will I be able to go back and make decisions for myself? Will I be able to go back home? Will I be able to go back to the same residential care home I came in from? All of those things are the things that people really worry about, and we know that. Nurses know that, people on the wards, doctors know that, although much of it may be quite internalised. And also, frankly, most of us would have been in that kind of position where we're feeling a bit out of control, and the worries in our heads are not about our physical health, they are about our lives and how they're going to progress after there's been a major kind of change. And my contention is that really all of us in the health service and all of us who work in the social care system have a desire to relieve the patient, to make the patient well, the individual, the person well, and enable them to reassume their lives as close as possible to the way in which they were operating before. And that if we don't do that together, and if we don't understand that those two things need to be addressed, then actually neither bit of that recovery is going to work as well as it should. So the physical recovery is likely to be less good, and certainly the way in which the person operates in the future may well be much more of a dependent kind of, have a more dependent feel to it, and there may be increasing need to use services. So my overwhelming kind of drive through this underpins this presentation, which is full of recommendations about systems and the way in which that works, there are things that we can do structurally and things that we definitely should do structurally, things that we should change about our processes, ways in which you can make your processes more conducive to working together. But fundamentally, the thing that matters is what Andy referred to in the introduction. It's culture, it's behaviour, and it's attitudes. And if those things aren't working right, and if you don't work on creating trust across your system at every level, from the board level and local members to chief operating officers, accountable officers, chief execs, you name it, directors of social services, then you're not going to make as much progress no matter what you do about your little technical processes and what have you, because people won't believe in them, they won't sign up to them, and probably they won't invest the sort of time that they need to make them effective and work for your particular circumstances. There is no one way of doing this. I mean, Vince is talking about CHC, whatever, you know what's going to make the difference in your system and the flow of your system, and that's what you need to work on, never mind what the target is up there. Okay, so that's my little rant. So I feel very strongly about this because we've all seen how big systems tend to be the systems where people pick up the phone to each other, and less efficient systems are the ones where people go to meetings and expect that to make things happen. We all know that's not always the case. Okay, so there are two slides now. So one is what tends to help in terms of systems, and as I say, some of it's a bit nuts and bolty, and I'll talk about that in a minute. The next slide is what's not so, what tends to get in the way of effective working between organisations. And then I want you to talk about it and to think about what two things, two or three, you decide, would be the best things to focus on and might make the biggest difference, and then jot them down. I'm not going to do a feedback session because you probably won't have time now, but in the sessions that we have later, where you're doing some reflection in your systems, make sure you've got a couple of points about this stuff to talk about when you're in that frame of mind, because this is the stuff that can kind of float away if you're not careful. So things that work well, and if we do have time, maybe we'll be able to hear about a couple of things that you think have worked really well. So here we go, open book accounting, etc., etc. Basically, what you want to do is to have a system between you all which is open, honest, unafraid to discuss the limitations that you might have in your system, the cuts targets that there might be in the local authority and within the NHS. So talking about those things kind of honestly, having a sort of arrangements and relationships where, informally and formally, you can discuss problems and you can also celebrate what works well. Now, easily said, and people feel kind of anxious about doing that sometimes and feel that there are pressures on on not sharing that kind of information and not challenging each other, because they think that if you challenge each other, you're going to fall out. And sometimes that is the case. If you haven't done the work to make this, on the basis that you assume you've all got the same intent, which is about getting the whole person back to as good functioning as you possibly can, which is what we're all trying to do. So make the most and create the formal and informal ways of talking to each other. Pick up the phone and don't wait for meetings. Certainly don't go to meetings, talk about things, and then don't do anything afterwards. So that kind of follow-up, and don't rely on those action logs and minutes of meetings to be the prompts for what should happen. Basically, do things in between the meetings. The meetings are just checkpoints. I know I'm stating the obvious, but we all know how meetings can work. And what you want in terms of sort of point number 2, thinking about the workforce overview, about how seeing your workforce as a whole, thinking about skill mix together, thinking about recruitment difficulties together, looking at campaigns that you can do about, I've lived and worked in Norfolk for a long time. Norfolk is really hard. It's really, really hard to get people to move to Norfolk. It's absolutely beautiful. Come and work here. It's beaches. It's all lovely. But it's also, the next point. You can't drive through it to go somewhere. And when you're there, it takes a really long time to get out. Left at 5 o'clock, was it this morning? To get here, So local places have local difficulties, which are common to everybody. It's difficult to recruit teachers, it's difficult to recruit nursing, it's difficult to recruit everybody to Norfolk. And yet, organisations don't talk together about how you can get a marketing campaign and tackle it as a kind of an issue for the whole system. And those kind of things really start to build up trust and communication and a better strategic position. Single version of the truth is the sort of summary for point number 3. That you get your system, obviously we know that in virtually every system, the data systems don't talk to each other. People are trying to get over that. I was in Rutland yesterday, and they've now in social care got they haven't got a single system, but they have got both systems, health system 1 and their own social care system on one laptop. So that's a major step forward, and they're really very happy about that, and it will make things better. And they're not satisfied and want to sort of surge ahead with that. But irrespective of the systems issues, what really matters is, do you trust each other's data, and have you agreed what the position is amongst you all, and also then what you want to achieve and how you're going to mark your progression, what matters to the system, which obviously is what matters to the patient, and how are you going to chart your progress and believe what each other is saying. Having a single point of referral, aligning your systems. I've had lots of discussions with people over the 30 years I've worked in both health and social care about integration. And integration is regarded as the gold standard, and it absolutely can be. But alignment is for some places. I was having a very interesting conversation with a chief exec just the other day, who said that I'm less interested in spending loads of time on the nuts and bolts of integration, the sorting out the management lines and the professional supervision and all the rest of it, but than I am in getting those systems to work together in whatever way makes most sense. So again, there's no escaping the responsibility at local level to be deciding what is going to work well for you in order to achieve the agreed outcomes, which are national as well as local. So people being able to make it easy for the individual to get the services that they need, which need to be bespoke, need to be wrapped around the individual. That's what we all want to do. We seem to find it incredibly difficult to do it, and it's because I don't think we focus enough on how it feels for the patient. And again, one of the things I find interesting in many boardroom tables or meetings, steering rooms, etc., is that people talk about having to have a patient in the room, which is always a jolly good idea, fail to look around the room and refer back to our own experience. I think people feel very uncomfortable about that. I had an emergency operation at the NNN a few years ago. It's absolutely brilliant. And I think about that a lot in terms of the way in which I experience the system and the totality. And it's just as my experience is just as acceptable as everybody else's. So although we're all professionals, don't forget that we are human beings too, and don't assume that only a social worker, for example, can put together a decent plan to make you feel safe and secure and to address your life needs. You also have an entitlement to talk about that as much as anybody else. What you do want to do is to respect the expertise that somebody may have in terms of how they can make that wrap-round service work effectively. On point 5, so you may have agreements in place for assessment that need to be undertaken by the most appropriate person. That's the ideal. We'll be talking about that later in the World Cafe on the table, which is about trusted assessment. And there's some really, really groundbreaking work going on around this, where people are putting that kind of trust I was talking about earlier into practical use by saying, yes, the providers in the community saying they will agree to accept the assessment of one of their organisations on behalf of the rest, and can have that person in the hospital full time. It speeds up assessment and just demonstrates that the focus is on getting on the expertise, which is shared and can be trusted by all. And similarly within the hospital, many people are now getting to the stage where they don't need to have sequential assessments within the hospital by different professionals. I'm sure that most of you are working on that now. Talking back about the culture of personal responsibility, it's really interesting about progressing something, even if you feel like it's not your immediate area of expertise. So it's moving away from the fact that you agree that something should happen for a patient, some physio will come in here, the social worker will be doing that over there, and the doctor will be doing whatever the doctor should be doing. And if something is not progressing, when you go to the next board round, that you don't sort of say, well, I did my bit, and I didn't. And instead, you have some kind of a discussion about what is holding back the bit that didn't get done. Is there anything that you can collectively do to help? And taking that sort of responsibility in between times to move things on to the patient. And that sort of cultural flexibility and trust, I think, is absolutely crucial. And what's also absolutely crucial, as we know, those of us who enjoy looking at management theory, which I don't really, but modelling behaviour from the top. So if you are in an organisation where you hear your chief exec saying in the hospital, I don't understand social care, I don't understand it. That's a completely different culture. That's what makes it so hard, isn't it? We can't work together because we just don't understand their culture. Actually, that is, I think that should be not tolerated anywhere in the system. And equally, I say the same things when I'm talking to directors of adult social care, when they sort of say, well, how's so different, isn't it? Completely different culture, what do we know about that? Well, actually, what you do know about is leading organisations, leading complex organisations, hospitals are very complex, so are social care departments. The fact that they are slightly differently structured, accountability and governance is slightly different, is not the point. And so for people, senior leaders in the system, to say and to demonstrate that they don't really understand each other and therefore they only kind of meet in formal arrangements, I think is entirely the wrong message to the rest of the workforce. And they need to see people walking around together and talking to each other and demonstrating that kind of behaviour. So those are the kind of things that help if you've got those in place, and these are things that don't get well. And I mean, you all know all of these kind of things. It's where people are protected, it's the other side of the coin. It's where people are protective, they're only concerned about their own organisations, budget, performance. They don't even look at the stuff that's being reported in their partner organisations. They rely on the system leadership boards, but they don't actually quite often include those in their real governance arrangements in their heads. So they may go to the A&E Delivery Board, or they may go to the Health and Wellbeing Board, but really they think the business goes on in the Trust Board and in the social care committee in the county council. So it's that sort of thinking and commitment that makes a difference, but is sadly not always there. And then I think there's the whole sort of focus on individual performance as opposed to encouragement of individual accountability, which are two very different things. People love to get into arguments about coding for CHC, which I find mind-numbing, as everybody does actually, and missing the point. Because the point about determining where the delay for a patient is about thinking about where the delay for the patient is and the impact that's having on the patient. It's not, and it shouldn't be about fining, charging, being able to report that, oh, you know, we've done all the right things, but that lot over there, they're the ones, they're the problem. It's a shared problem. You're a shared system, and that's the attitude that you really need to have. And if you don't have it, it is very difficult to make progress to solve what are sometimes complex problems. None of us have got enough money, so we need to work together to see how we can operationally improve with not very much resource. So again, you know, people, the other thing that gets in the way is when people are just obsessed with NHSI and HSE and not really bothered about and aware of what's happening within local government and government and the local authority in terms of spending targets. I think there's been some progress, ironically because of the huge difficulties in resources. I think people are now becoming more aware of the issues on both sides. But unfortunately, I think there are still a tendency to pull back. Making, you know, short-term, quick decisions about cuts, and particularly when it impacts on staff, your staff resources, you know, that's the gold dust that makes everything work. And when you make a decision about something in isolation and then just come back to your partner and say, well, you know, yes, it's happened, as opposed to talking them through the process in the local authority for coming to a budget decision. It takes about 4 months. They tend to spend much longer on it than happens in the health service in terms of discussion, public consultation. It's right out there. So the possibilities of what might happen are discussed for a very long time. And yet that doesn't seem to affect the discussions that take place in the boards like Health and Wellbeing Board and the A&E Delivery Board. And it's sort of willful refusal to sort of look in that direction, which is just unhelpful. Not having a single version of the truth, picking over the numbers, challenging them and saying that's not right, we don't agree with that. It's just a waste of time. You know, it takes so much time and so much effort and sometimes so much resource. And it absolutely mitigates against having a good, positive culture where people are trying to work together. If you feel like there is not enough trust in the system, you're unlikely to agree a single point of access. You're unlikely to have a team where you think that they have a shared responsibility and have the shared skills and abilities to operate a single point of access where you can simplify the process for the patients to get out of the hospital and back home. So I would say spending a little bit of time on development together is always worthwhile. And I will say that I went outside to check how many social care people there last day, and I may have missed it. I went down a little list and I was just looking at titles, and I saw a title and I saw it was me. So are there any social care people in there? Hooray, good. A few, not many, a few from one place. Just think about it for the future, for these events. You know, you should have your social care people there, so they're part of the discussion. And I would ask that when you're doing the reflection time, which you're going to do now, and then later, do make a point of thinking about how you're going to kind of talk about this stuff with people back at your branch. And certainly in the future, how you're going to make sure that they come here. Okay, so now what I'd like you to do is, in your tables, you've got some